Khalil, man, you've had back-to-back impressive victories, right? I feel like your personal platform is bigger than it's ever been, sharing the message and getting some momentum. I mean, what does it feel like right now for you? Does it feel like you kind of where you want to be?
Well, the first thing is it feels good to be able to have, back-to-back finishes, back-to-back wins. And then, yeah, as far as just like the platform and the outreach, it's been really well. A little bit overwhelming, a lot of, just a lot of people, a lot of kind of heavy conversations, but overall everything's been good, and it's been helping me to kind of focus on, on the future.
Obviously, your message is so powerful, but you're one guy, right? I mean, it's difficult for you to handle all that, I imagine. I mean, are you trying to, build more of an outreach, or is it a difficult balance for you right now?
I definitely would love to build more of an outreach, and that's I've got to take everything in little steps, right? Like I didn't expect for just a flood of just different types of people reaching out from like, I want to help with book, and hey, I have these problems, or thank yous. So in order to not be overwhelmed, I had to kind of, okay, I have to attack this, step by step, while still maintaining my own, my own personal life and things like that. So baby steps, but we'll get there.
Was that a wild realization? Because I know you said, like, hey, I want to be an inspiration, but when it happens and you are an inspiration, there's that many people reaching out. I mean, is that a little bit overwhelming, or is it almost like inspiring? You're like, oh my gosh, like this can work.
It's a little bit of both. Overwhelming in the sense of to where like I realize that like, okay, like I'm also only human, right? But also inspiring because it calls me to be a bigger, better version of myself. So it's a little bit of a mixture, but all in all, it's all good.
I know you got the brand as well, so I mean a lot of busy things happening. It's been like an 11-year journey at this point in terms of martial arts. Does it feel like it's happening fast right now, or does it feel like this has been a slow build to get to this moment?
It feels more of a slow build than it does fast. It's been 11, 12 years of just preparation and just getting better, learning, growing. So I don't feel like anything's really happened overnight. I feel like I've put in a good amount of time and energy to get to where I'm at today.
Obviously, continued positive fight results will help you to continue building that platform. So
yeah.
What is the balance? Like, what do you have to do? Like, training camp, it's fight time now. Do you just have to shut that all out? Do you try to find a balance during the day? Like, how does that work?
Balance, absolutely. But when it comes time to train, that's the focus is, lock in and prepare. That's the best thing, and that's what's worked for me. So I don't want to change anything. I just want to make sure that, when I come in here, I do my job, do what I've trained to do, and then afterward, I'll have some time to, to focus on the other things that mean just as much to me.
Dustin Jacoby, another guy that's kind of been on a journey, man. He's had some ups and downs to get here. I guess, what do you think about him overall as an opponent, and what kind of challenges he presents to you?
It's hard for me to answer that question. I think that any opponent that I face is a tough opponent. And I think that this is also another tough opponent. I think everybody in the UFC top 15 and up, even below, it's all tough opponents, and I don't take anybody lightly. So I'm prepared.
You mentioned the top 15. I mean, it seems like a spot in the rankings is on the line here for you. Does that matter to you? I know you're working towards things that are bigger than really just the fight game, but does being in those rankings matter? I mean, is that a goal that you think about?
Yeah, it's definitely a goal that I think about. While I'm here and while I'm still fighting, I'd love to continue to climb as high as possible. Champion being, the pinnacle. So the only way to get there is to get into the rankings, right? So, yeah, I think it's something that I aim for, something that I asked for, and, a shot that I got. So,
like I said, that opportunity here. Last thing for me, I guess. I mean, how do you see this thing playing out? Because on paper, it looks like it could be pretty wild, and what you've done in your last 2 fights has been pretty impressive. So do you feel like you can get another big finish like that? Is this going to be a grind-out war? Like, how do you see this thing playing out when you play it out in your mind?
I'm gonna leave that for a surprise. Yeah, you know, like I'm no Mystic Mac. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna come in here and say, but I know what I feel in my heart, and I'm ready. I'm prepared.
I know, Khalil, your story has always been very inspirational to me, and I think so many others. And with you using this platform, but here it is, Fight Week, I can see where some people are like, bro, don't ask him these questions about this. Just keep it on the fight. But for you up there, being in Fight Week, I'm sure there's Fight Week things you want to think about. Is it still good that people are asking these questions and giving you a chance to talk about other issues during a Fight Week? Or would you rather people leave this to another time, maybe not during Fight Week?
You know, I never really think about like, oh, I'd rather this or rather that, or I just show up and whatever questions are asked, I answer them as best as I can. I know you guys are doing your best to do your job, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it is what it is, you know? Like, whether you ask me stuff about, you know, personal life or fighting, I just realized that, like, you know, I got to answer, you know, no matter what. It's not really up to me what you guys ask. So I'm okay with whatever. It's okay. That's what I signed up for, right?
Very true.
Yeah.
And I know, just kind of piggyback off what John said, I know in the past too, we didn't do a good job of asking the right questions for you as well and for other fighters. So I guess as simple as it sounds, how is Khalil doing? How are you doing right now in life, in yourself, in your career, in your overall level of happiness? How is Khalil doing right now?
Wow, man. I think that might have been the first time I've ever been asked that in the history of or my time here in the UFC. I'm well. I'm okay. It's been a great fight camp, and every day is a challenge. And I'm here. I'm here another day, and I'm grateful. And I've come a long way. And life is good. Life is good. I cannot complain. Yeah, man. I'm here. And that's just how I feel at this moment right now. It's like, I'm here and I'm grateful. And thank you, really, thank you for asking that.
That's awesome, brother. It's great to hear. And I guess just one final one, and I'll let you get back because I know you have Fight Week stuff. Are you still big on crypto? I know in the past we've seen you wearing your little ledger.
Yeah.
And around. Are you still high on the crypto? I know Bitcoin's taken a bit of a hit as of lately, but are you still high on that whole cyber currency and all that stuff?
I absolutely still believe in cryptocurrency. More Bitcoin than anything. I see the value in Bitcoin. I see what it can do for people if it's starting to be looked at in the right way, not like a get rich quick scheme or, oh, I'm losing all of this stuff. I think that there's a long-term there's like a long-term solution to a lot of problems, via Bitcoin. Right now we're in some tough times economically. We see market crashing, we see all this stuff. The value of Bitcoin's gone down. The value of a lot of crypto has gone down. But overall, I think it's just kind of like, it's just a time, right? This is a time that we're in. But, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I think that it's going to be one of the best things that has happened to humanity. Like, we don't have to worry about so many people and so many middlemen in between how we live our lives or how we become successful or how we make trades or whatever it may be. Like, I think that with Bitcoin, the biggest thing, the speed of transaction and the fact that it can just be peer-to-peer without anybody having to dip in and take this and the value, I think it's great. I think it's an amazing technology, and I still have my investments. You know, I still keep them. I don't watch everything every day because in my mind, it's not about right now. It's about, you know, what can I pass to my children later on down the line? Because I have to look ahead on technology, the way that the future is going. We see every day there's something new with technology, from phones to how we interact to AI and all of this stuff that we can't really control. It's going, you know, the future is going in forward very rapidly, and there's nothing we can really do about it other than get with the program. So when I take that mentality and that approach, I see like, okay, cool. If there were any kind of like cryptocurrency that I would, you know, bet on, I would put my investments and have put it in Bitcoin. It seems the most strong to me.
That's awesome. And just hearing you talk about it, I think it's you could obviously tell you're very passionate about it. Were you talking about trying to start a podcast at one point? Was that something in the works? And if so, where's that at?
It got brought up when I did Joe Rogan. He mentioned, he's like, hey man, you'd be a great podcaster, you know, and he kind of gave me his blessing in a way. But I've thought about it, but I've never spent too much time thinking about like how I'm gonna do it, or you know, it seems like a lot of work. But who knows? I mean, it's not completely off the table. But if it ends up being something that's, you know, I guess convenient in a way, you know, then yeah, I'll do it. But as of now, I don't have any pieces, you know, in play to start the podcast.
Well, it would be great. I think you have a great inspirational story. I think it'd be another avenue for you to be able to maybe reach some people. But I know you got your hands full. But regardless, good luck this week.
Thank you so much.
You bet. He's the partner.
I've always wanted to work for Junkie, so we're partnering up.
I found this shirt. I don't know why, bro. I've always only wore the black ones. I pulled this shirt down this morning thinking like I just want a shirt to work out. And I was like, when did I make a gray one?
They have like all the fighters, right? It's usually like 12.
Yeah, the whole main card. And who's the extra one?
Dolidze and Hawes.
I don't know if Waldo speaks English.
I don't think he does.
That's how it's gonna look Fight Night, it seems. Gonna be slim pickings.
What did it feel like? What did you feel like?
That's what you want, Joe.
Don't lie.
Is it hair you're not happy with, or?
No, it's the far of a mustache. Yeah, totally going Super Troopers. I need a liter of cola right now.
Okay, you've gotten to stay busy this year, man. I mean, 4th fight, I think, this year. Has that been a blessing for you, or has it been kind of a challenge to, stay in camp and be this active?
Madam, prostitution is the oldest profession, and madam, I'm a professional.
We're just going quotes all day. I know you can't be necessarily satisfied with the results of everything, this year, but I guess how have you dealt with that? Have you been comfortable with your efforts or frustrated? Like, what's it been like for you behind the scenes?
Behind the scenes, a lot of crying, sadness, hugging my body pillow. And to the point where I switched camps at a new camp, and then I train with them. I go home, I cry, sadness, I hug my body pillow again, just because they beat me up all the time.
It's nice that you're being so open about it, though. It's okay for a big heavyweight UFC fighter to cry, right? That's okay.
No, it's shameful. Like,
talk about the camp switch. I mean, what inspired you? Was it just like, man, I don't feel like I'm getting the results I need, or what did inspire the camp switch?
There was a multitude of different reasons, from personal to just I needed different training partners. And honestly, at the end of the day, between my business of owning a gym and just where I was training, I grew to detest the sport. I hated everything about it. I hated watching certain people train, and they're like, why am I not getting the results? And I kind of said all myself, I'm like, yeah, you know what, I'm not getting the results. So instead of following, their footsteps, I'm like, I need to make a change for myself. And now I'm at a place, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about the camps where I'm at now, but I'm at Kings now, and I love every moment there. And I get beat up regularly. I learn a lot. And sometimes it's not these big things. It's just some minute, small things I'm learning from Rafael. The dude is brilliant. And all the people that he has there, brilliant. And honestly, all the fighters that he's raising are just intelligent people. I have nothing bad to say about Kings and the people there.
So it's interesting to hear you say that you'd grown to detest the sport. I mean, were you kind of battling that, like, during your last training camps and your last fights? Like, here you're at the highest level of the sport, but you're not actually loving it or passionate about it?
Honestly, I think what really pissed me off was, like, people, like, especially the business side of it, just seeing how fucking stupid people are. Because, I could throw a punch means I'm a fighter. No, it fucking doesn't. Like, seriously, the average fight lasts 7 seconds. The reason why is most people can't handle a fucking punch to the face, but then talk all this shit about, how easy it is to get in the UFC. It's like, no, bitch. Like, you look at a lot of these people's, some of their 10 years are like 10, 15 years before they even make it to the UFC. I mean, my boy, Action Man, Chris, fucking was fighting 15 years or some shit like that before he got his debut in the UFC. And I love Chris. He's been fucking killing it. But the fact that, a lot of people act like, I could just do this, or I don't want to blame Jake Paul, but the fact that Jake Paul has money, he's able to train, a lot of these fucking kids and people are like, my kid's going to be the next Jake Paul. No, he's fucking not. He's not funny. He doesn't do YouTube well enough, and he doesn't have millions of dollars to spend on training, and you expect him to be the next fucking... I got all this shit from, like, working and then seeing people train, like, I partied all night. I fucking did this all night. I'm too tired to train. And it's like, why are you surprised about the fucking results? I was surrounded by all these fucking people that made me just really fucking hate the sport. And I'm just like, why the fuck are you here? And the one piece that actually kept me from losing my fucking mind was the camp. I love fighting. I love punching people in the face. I love being punched in the face. Despite what anyone says, we're all sadomasochists here. We all love the punches. We all love, it's the adrenaline that makes us feel alive. So that was the biggest thing keeping me on. But honestly, the outside world and, like, the day-to-day things really made me grow to detest the sport, as you can tell.
With the change in camp now, has some of that come back? Because you liked the part about being in camp, right? But it was just the business side of it or dealing with it?
The business side and just seeing other people. Like, I watch people, like, sometimes it's like a lot of, like it sucks because you watch a lot of the beginner pros. It sucks because you want to tell them, fuck your job, focus on training. And in reality, that's kind of what you have to do. But some have wives, some have kids, some have both, you know, and you can't just sacrifice your family. You can't sacrifice your livelihood just because you want to chase your dream. You have to sacrifice something. And for some people, it's sleep. Some people, is their sanity. Like, people sacrifice things. And then I watch people that will not make a sacrifice and just be confused on why they're not where they should be. I know I've trained with people that belong here, but they refuse to make that sacrifice and baffled why they're not. I'm just like, you didn't make the sacrifices. When I tell people I've been homeless for this fucking sport, I remember my third fight. I asked the promoter, I'm like, can you set me up with a hotel room just so I could have a place to sleep going into this fight? Because I was sleeping in my car. I was basically, God, I'm going to get a lot of shit for this. I was working at a bar, and because of both of the gyms I trained at, both had showers, so I would go to the bar, shower, and stuff like that, and basically hook up with women and be like, oh, you want to spend the night? Yes, I do. I was prostituting myself out for a bed. Hey, it was a good night's sleep for both of us.
Well, talk about where you are now, because, I mean, you said coming in, hey, this is the last fight on the deal, right? I mean, you said it like, I'm fighting to stay in the promotion right now. I mean, that's got to be, is that like a heavy burden, or do you embrace that thought?
Honestly, I haven't really thought about it that much. I've been really serious about training. Honestly, falling in love with the sport again. That, like, I'm at a point where if this does not go well, I don't know. I'm actually happy with training again. So I'm like, I think I will actually just continue fighting one way or another and just work my way back here. But honestly, I just want to win so much that I've kind of forgotten the contract. Plus, I think I'm cute enough to get another contract.
We'll talk about the matchup itself. Do you break down your opponent much? Have you spent a lot of time doing that, or is it more just focusing on you?
I don't know. I just don't like watching my opponents. I'll watch them once or twice. And I have seen both of his two recent fights live because, like, I like watching LFA, especially the heavyweights. So I'm just like, and it was the heavyweight title, so I was like, oh shit, let me watch it. I thought it was a fun fight. Then I tend to watch the Contender Series because it's, you know, that's where I got my shot at. So that's how I show my support, is constantly watching it. And, you know, I saw him earn his contract. And so I rewatched them recently, and not recently, but like 3-4 weeks ago, once. And I don't know. I don't want to dwell in my head like, oh my God, he does this. Oh my God, he does that. Oh my God, he killed that man. Because, I mean, if I watch some of my fights, I'm very crucial about myself. It's like, dude, you killed him in 40 seconds. That's besides the point. So I'm very flip-floppity on watching it. I know some people do. I'm not that person.
Last thing for me, I guess, given all that's going on, I mean, what's the definition of success and failure here? Like, is it has to be a victory, or like knowing that you're kind of finding love for the sport again, and maybe like can you go out there and come up short but be like, man, I did everything correctly, I enjoyed the process, like I'm back? Can that still be victory for you?
So if I do everything correctly and I still lose, you know, then that just means Waldo was a completely better person than me. And you can't hate on you going out there giving 120% and still coming up short. But what I will find failure is if I give 10%, or like maybe not, like let's say 80%, and I come up short, and I come up short by a point or something. That to me is failure. If I go in there, do everything I can, and I fail, fine. I just cannot go over there and just question myself, what if? Because if that's the case, then I might as well just leave out the front door fucking right now.
Just a silly one, because you brought up your stash, so I imagine your weekend, the dance card has to be pretty full. And was it Maverick that inspired it, or 70s porn that inspired them?
All right, so Ron Jeremy for the win. No, because right now I'm missing my liter of cola and my maple syrup. This is Farva. I was like, someone needs to give me a coffee cup and a bar of soap in there, and I'll scream, "Oh, I pranked you! I got you! I got you!" Oh, I'm going to get beat by my girl. She's going to be like, "Why the fuck did you go to media day with that fucking mustache?" And I worked hard on like getting the sides, because normally it's a lot thicker than this. Oh yeah, no, yeah.
You're not a fan, huh?
No, she hates the mustache, but I also like to make fun of myself, so hence why we have the mustache. No.
Will we see the stash on Fight Night?
So I don't know. Like, it's very conflicting, because a piece of me is like, yeah, let's just do it to fuck with people. Other piece of me is like, I really want to do something stupid for weigh-ins or something cool. Like, I'm thinking maybe come into weigh-ins, crow makeup. I'm fine with that. I mean, it's possible to just walk in there with Michael Myers' fucking mask and just stand there and look at him with a knife. Just creepy. I don't know. It's Halloween, spooky season.
Maybe leave it up to a vote on your Instagram or something.
You know what? That was maybe the smartest thing anyone said about this. Everyone's like, "Oh, keep it. It's cute." I look at some of these guys. I'm like, you guys are fucked up. This is why men hate each other, because we lie to each other. We all know this is ugly, but this is funny as shit.
What's up? Max, I know it's kind of a heartbreaking result last time out, right? I guess. Tell me what you take from that experience.
Man, yeah, that Neil Magny fight, man, it burns me. It burns me in my heart. Right when I finished the fight, I walked backstage. Mick Maynard came back right back there. He's like, yo, me and Dana thought you won. We're going to give you your win money. So that almost made it worse. It almost made the burn worse. I mean, the money helped, right? I'll thank you for that. But just for them to pay me, it was like, yeah, it burns me like a hot iron, you know. But I learned some things. Yeah, that one burns. Now you bring it up. I would have been ranked. I would have had a number, all this. But you know what? It's what it is. I pulled some things from that fight. There's always takeaways in a fight, but I wouldn't be badass as I am now, and the approach I've taken and the steps I've taken day in and day out since that fight, I wouldn't be who I am now. So I really turned up my cardio, like my aerobic capacity, like my engine. I want to do five rounds. Like I'm ready for 5 hard rounds, not 3 rounds, hard 5. When I can just have energy to do whatever I want, nobody can stop me. Nobody. So my new thing on top of what I've been doing is my pace. So you will see in this fight, pace till he's finished.
At least you took the lessons out of it, right? I mean, and then you get this matchup with Tim Means. I mean, knowing the type of fighter that you are, I got to think this was one that was like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, I didn't know who they were going to give me after that fight because I won, but I didn't. But it was, a fight to be ranked. But when I got Tim Means, I was like, yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, I like Tim Means. I've known Tim Means for a while. He was actually the first UFC fighter that I met, like at a card, when I fought Colby Covington. We stayed at the Red Rock. It was my first time. But he was in the hot tub. I'm like, oh shit, that's Tim Means. And I talked to him, and he gave me advice on the autographers, or the scalper dudes who sell all the autographs. He's like, yo, I'll give you some advice. He says, people will try to, get your autographs and sell them. So he's like, when someone asks for your autograph, ask who I make it out to. And if they say, no, it's okay, then they're trying to sell it. So I always remember that, because you see the guys hanging out and with their bags and have you, can you sign these 20 gloves? Right, get out of here with that shit, So, but Tim Means is solid, respectful guy. I've been a fan of him. I mean, before that, and then since then. But it's all love, man. It's gonna be violence. I'm freaking finish him, but it's all love.
You look at the run that you're on, the opponents, especially the last 3, right? Condit, Magny, Means. I mean, it's about these savvy veterans, and I mean, I guess, are there things that you've taken out of these, last 3 fights and the preparation, or any lessons you can take in seeing these kind of savvy vets that have been around the game for a long time?
It's fun. It makes me think, I'm a savvy vet too. This is my 14th or 15th UFC fight, so I'm a savvy vet as well, and I'm getting better with age. I'm getting better, ripening up. Like a fine wine, a nice whiskey. But yeah, I'm getting better with age, and it's weird. It's the opposite of kind of what's supposed to happen. I think I'm really finding my groove though with my body and my recovery. I'm recovering so much every night. I have my Normatec. I got my PenFmat. I'm doing my stretching stuff. I'm really recovering hard. Even when I feel fine, even when I feel great, I'm still doing it. And my body's been holding up. It's been awesome. Usually it's something, I can't do this, I can't do that in these camps, being a fighter. But this camp and oh my God, it's awesome.
I know the last one was clearly a chance to step in the rankings, but honestly, a statement here probably as well, right? I mean, do you feel like those same stakes are hand? You go out and make a statement, you can still get on that list?
Yeah, it's what it is with the rankings, though. Even the stuff with Sean O'Malley being number 1 and this stuff, rankings are just, it's whatever they want. So, fighting Tim Means as a co-main event is going to be big for me, especially on ESPN, and the world's going to see. And I'm the best I've ever been, and I know it's a cliche thing as if they go up here and say, but no stones have been unturned. I've been doing so much, and so much of the right stuff, only the right stuff. That's it, and it's working, and you guys will see Saturday night.
And the last thing for me is, I guess, kind of, how do you see this one playing out? Because on paper, you know what this fight looks like. It looks like it's going to be crazy. I'm sure the prediction is pain, but,
Pain.
Well, yeah, well, I mean, as you see this thing play out, I mean, do you feel like this is one that you're going to have to dig deep and you're going to have to be ready for a dirty, scrappy fight? Or is this one that you're like, maybe I can go out there and dominate?
I'm going to dominate Tim Means. I'm going to put a performance of the night. It will not be fight of the night. It will be when I'm at my best and I'm systems go and I'm healthy and my conditioning and my mindset, my mind's different. I feel like an alien or something. My consciousness is higher. I've been reading a lot. I've been meditating a lot. I've been just being better. And I'm finding that it's going to be really dangerous, especially for someone like Tim Means. He doesn't move that much. He's down to sit there and bang and stand and trade. Not a good idea.
You talked about the pace of this fight and about the pace that you're going to put onto him. Is that strictly just the cardio work and stuff that you put in, or is it part of the mental side that you were just sort of talking as well that's going to help you push that pace on him?
It's both. It's both. The pace thing, first of all, it was after the Neil Magny fight. I was like, yo, what can I do? When he held me at like the end of that fight, I did feel like a little energy, like he had more energy at the very end, but I was being held, and it's just what it was. But I want to be in the position where I'm just warming up in the third round. Like Jim's having to kick me off the mat. It's like 6 rounds in, I'm like, I want to go, He's like, yo, Max, So I'm at a place now where I have been able to do that, and I look back at time on this pace thing, because you have your energy system, right? Then but there's different parts of it. There's different gears: first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear. There's anaerobic, aerobic. I'm building my aerobic capacity 5 days a week, hour and a half, heart rate between 120, 140, like a higher pace, but for a long time. It feels like you're not doing enough, but it's building that engine. So I've been building that engine since March. April, May, June, July, August, September, October. I've been working on my capacity for 7 months, hard. So I feel it. So on top of that, I'm gonna drown these guys. And like Loader said, my other coach, my wrestling coach, Ryan Loader, he goes, make them think it's never gonna end. And that hit me home. That hit me in the heart. So yeah, let them think that it's never gonna end. Amen to that.
And with this journey that it seems like you've been on and, coming to this point where you're at now, the mentality and things, is it feel like kind of a full circle moment? You're fighting a guy now that when you were first coming onto the scene, you first meet him, and now you've went through this whole journey and this whole path, and now you're coming back to a guy that was kind of at the beginning of your origin story.
Yeah.
And is that a little bittersweet, or?
It is. I hope I don't have to beat him too bad, I like him, but, it's like beating an old friend, putting an old dog down, but it's business. It's business, and we'll hang out after, but, no, it is. If he's unconscious, I'm not going to hit him with extra shots. Not one of those things. I'll have respect for his body.
That's awesome. Good luck on Saturday.
Oh yeah. Good one.
All right. Here we go, right? I mean, main event, looking to move to 10-0 in the UFC, keep this thing going. I mean, give me the feel, the energy right now as fight week is finally here.
Yeah, I feel great. It's feels like things are coming together, 9-0 in the UFC, 10-0, that would be nice. That sounds like a perfect number.
Obviously, the main event comes with added responsibilities, added spotlight, added pressure. I mean, is any of that in this first week like feeling a little bit much, or is it exciting? What's the moment like for you?
The photos we did out back, there's definitely a lot more than usual. I was starting to sweat standing on the spot, but no, it's all good. All good.
You talked about the momentum that you're kind of building. Like, it's been building for a while, right? I mean, people have been talking about you for years, and it seemed like it kind of slowed down a little bit. I don't think pandemic had to do with that, some cancellations, stuff like that. But I guess now that you're here, what does it feel like? Like, were you worried for a while that, like, the momentum was going to stop, or did you always believe that this was going to happen? What was it like?
Yeah, I always believed it was going to happen. Even when I'm not competing, if I got a broken hand or whatever, I'm in the gym training. I'm practicing a jab or just throwing kicks if I got no hands to use. So I'm always prepping. I'm always trying to get better. I'm watching the division and seeing what's going on. So just staying positive and doing what I can.
Of course, earlier this year, you made a hell of a statement in the last performance. I mean, was it something that just clicked that night, or is it been what you've been building towards? I mean, to get that emphatic result, like, what do you credit that to?
No, it was just kind of first because I just went a bit wild, and I just got a hit in the eye, and I couldn't really see him, so I just sort of kept swinging, and it worked out well.
So is that maybe the key, is that you need to be like injured a little bit to really ignite the fire for you?
Yeah, maybe. But no, a lot of the fights I've had in the UFC have kind of been guys, more wrestlers or guys that want to spoil, clinch, and sort of make it ugly. So I haven't really fought too many like pure strikers. So now fighting a guy that wants to strike, like Dan Hooker, it was kind of get to let my hands fly. It was a bit more in the Sadiq fight as well. He was predominantly a striker, and this guy is even more of a striker. So it's good. They're the matchups I like.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you make of Calvin's opponent? Because, he's had some ups and downs lately, but clearly dangerous in any fight that he's in. So what do you think of him as a matchup?
Yeah, like you say, he's dangerous in every fight. There's no quitting him. Even when he got battered by Max Holloway, he's still trying to find a win the whole way through. So, and, there's a big argument people could have thrown a towel in. So, yeah, but he never quit. He was trying to win the whole way through it. So, yeah, fair play. He's tough as they come.
Is that a concern for you at all? I mean, the experience that he does have in 5-round fights, which you don't have, obviously the headlining slot, like he's used to it at this point. I mean, is that a concern for you at all that maybe he's got a little something I don't in that aspect?
No, not really a concern. If anything, I look at it as a positive. He's got miles on the clock. He's had those 5-round wars, and even the fights he's won, he's taken a lot of damage. So yeah, I look at it as mileage.
Certainly, I mean, obviously now you're at the very top of the division where there's some names that have been there for a while. But, I mean, are you looking at this as a number one contender fight should you win? Because you're kind of that fresh name in the mix, right?
Definitely. I mean, throw an interim belt on it. Why not?
Knowing what this could be, I mean, does it bother you at all that the champion is out saying, I'm going to 55 and you guys can hang out for a while? I mean, that could kind of screw up your timing a little bit, right?
Yeah, nah. Volkanovski can do whatever he wants. He's great champion, and he's leading the way. Like going up a weight, he's dominated the division so far. He can do whatever he wants.
Fair enough. Obviously, since your last fight, you've got a new champ from your neck of the woods. I mean, is that inspiring at all to see like somebody from our region getting it done? I mean, do you take inspiration from that?
100%. Yeah, like getting to train with someone like Leon as well, and like share the mats with him, get advice off him, and see him go through that and how he did it. It's very motivating. Like you see that you can do it. Obviously, I've shared the gym with champions before, like GSP, but to see someone from the UK like do it and be in the gym at the same time when he does it is pretty special.
Well, obviously, a big moment for you, I guess. I mean, 5-round fight, a guy that doesn't quit. I mean, last thing for me, I guess, is how do you see this go? Because you're coming off this incredible finish, this big statement win, but then you got a guy that just doesn't ever seem to go away. So do you feel like, damn, we're going to have to go 25 minutes, or is it I can make another statement?
Yeah, Dan Hooker was that guy too. He's tough as hell. There's a lot of similarities in that fight, Tall, long, rangy strikers. that are known for having 5-round wars, and I believe in my power. I believe if I connect, I can hurt anyone in the division. I think I could put anyone away in the division. But I'm prepared to do 5 rounds, and it would be kind of good to do it.
You talked about how you like watching the division. Give me your thoughts on the state of the division right now. Is it as good as it's ever been? And what are your thoughts on it right now?
Yeah, it's definitely a good moment for it at the minute. But with like we were saying earlier, Volkanovski just running so far ahead is sort of no clear contender. It's a good opportunity to try and sort of stand out.
And when you talk about the belt coming back to the UK, what did that do to the overall, just I guess, the community? I mean, everybody outside. I mean, did you find more people getting interested back into MMA again now that there was a champion on the home soil?
Yeah, 100%. Like everything goes up. You get a champion at first. The gym where the champion is, everyone starts turning up for training, and people that are slacking a little bit get a bit more motivated. And then it goes across the rest of the country, so everyone else realizes that you can do this sort of thing. It can be done,
And lastly, kind of touching off what John said, I guess, what are your keys to the victory? What needs to really happen for you to make sure that you get your arm raised at the end of the night?
I keep saying it, hit him more than he hits me. That's the plan.
That's awesome. Best of luck.
Thanks.
First question for Roman. How do you feel, bro?
Very good, Sergey. Thank you.
Head corner man over here, man. He's cornering everybody these days. Obviously, look, massive win for you last time out, right? A big statement. I guess how important was it for you to kind of get that statement type result like that?
I think every fight is very important, but for me, it was just another fight. I know who I am. I know what I can do. But like you see, people need to prove that I can knock people out, and I proved them.
Did you let yourself enjoy any of the bonus money at all, or was it straight back into investment, or did you have a little fun with it?
Yeah, of course. I use this money to put into my business. I add into my grocery store, bakery, and now it works to bring me more money.
And back pretty quickly as well, right? I guess how important was it to get a fight booked quickly after you had to take so much time off previously?
I'm always ready to fight, but there was a reasons why I didn't fight, and that's all. If they will give me fight even after this fight in short time, I'm also will be ready.
Talk about Phil and the matchup. I mean, obviously, can be a very dangerous guy. What do you think about him as an opponent?
He's a good fighter. He have good wrestling, good striking, but I'm a good fighter too, and I'm ready for him.
Do you think that we'll get to see a battle of wrestling between you two? Because a lot of times two great grapplers don't end up grappling, but it would seem to be pretty entertaining.
I hope it will be pretty entertaining, that's first of all. Second of all, I'm ready for anything what he can show me. I respect him, but this is fight, this is our business, our job, and I hope we will do it good.
Maybe a shot at the rankings here, right? I mean, are you considering that, hey, this is an opportunity to get into the rankings?
UFC already offered me top 15 fighter before, but I didn't have opportunity because time to prepare for that fight. But I think this fight is very important to that step, what you are talking about, and it's pretty close, I think.
Was that a difficult decision for you to make, to not accept a fight against a ranked opponent? I mean, it's a mature decision, but difficult?
I just asked to move it a little bit to give me more time to prepare. It was like they give me enough time, but that time I was working on my business. I was opening new place, and I needed to be there, unfortunately, because I have other things in my life too. And probably it would be better if I would say yes that time. I thought that they will move a little bit that fight, but they didn't move. But now I'm ready. I will say now yes for any time.
So you're a businessman as much as a fighter? Are you a businessman first or a fighter first? Which one?
Both. It's very important for me to not be only fighting. Fighting is very important. And if you will say how it is, because of fighting, I have that business opportunities what I have now. I'm using this money what I'm making here. And I always mention that everything complete, this part and this part, they are both very important. But I have this part and this style of life what I have now just because of fighting.
Are the businesses in Georgia?
Yes, back home.
That's would you do anything here, or is it just you come here for business trips? And all?
I think it's a big business to fight in the UFC too. That's why, yes, I'm doing here too.
So maybe score another bonus on Saturday. Does the money go all back into the business?
That's just such a good idea. I'll try.
Like I said, on paper, I should say, it looks like it should be a pretty explosive fight. Is that what you're expecting here?
Yes, I'm expecting that too. And then Mick offered me that fight. I immediately said yes because this guy is a good fighter, and he have good wins against top 15 fighters now. And but I'm not trying to find easy ways. I'm ready for anything, and let's go.
Ultimately, you want to be champion. So I guess, what would be the plan here? You win. I mean, do you want to book again quickly and get another fight quickly, or you want a ranked opponent now? What would be next?
Of course, if fight will be I'm planning, and I will not have injuries or something, yes, I'm ready to fight. Why not? I'm ready to fight anytime, anywhere, and anyone.
And then when does the UFC go to Georgia, by the way?
Oh, that's such a good idea, you know. But they have so much fighters now from Georgia, and it's quite possible. And we are doing great. That's first main thing what can push them to do that. But also we understand it's also business for UFC, and I think they will find right ways.
Sorry if I missed it. Do you mind sharing who the top 15 fighter that they were trying to match you up with was, and are you trying to get that fight still again?
Yes, Brazilian guy. He's a good jiu-jitsu guy. Yes, he's a very good jiu-jitsu guy.
Is that something that you still would like to get because of maybe his ranking, or is it just the fight? Was it the fight interesting to you?
Any top 15 fighters are good for me, and I'm ready. Also, before I mentioned and told that if they will give me, I'm ready to fight in 93, 205 too. Why not? And there is a guy who that look like me, Paul Craig. Yeah. And he's also a good grappler, and it also would be a very interesting fight for me.
I think that'd be a fun fight. Is that something that you've been thinking of for a while, to try to be able to swing between two different divisions?
After my last fight, I told to Mick, give me fight faster, and I'm ready to fight if you want in 205.
Would that be hard to switch back and forth, or would you find yourself, once you went up, would you rather stay up there?
When I'm preparing for 185, my normal weight is the same like I was when I was fighting 205. It's not different at all. Like I'm same weight. I'm not gaining, and I didn't go down because of changing weight class. That's why I think it will be not a big deal for me.
So in that sense, you feel the same strength level of your own self in both divisions. You're not losing strength to come down.
I think even better.
Nice.
Because people don't understand that I'm starting MMA not so long, and starting doing professionally. It started when I really understand that I'm in UFC, best organization in the world. Before I was fighting only in one organization in Ukraine, 6 fights there, and I signed immediately directly to UFC. And after that, I understand that it's not that game anymore like I was doing there. And I'm still improving, still learning, still a lot of things what I want to change in my fights, improve. And I try every fight to be better than I was before.
Best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
I gotta ask, because I hadn't thought about the fact that you look like Paul Craig. Have you been mistaken for Paul Craig before? Like people thought that you were him?
Yeah. Few times it's happened, especially in on internet, but that's normal. We look like same, like brothers.
Last thing I just want to ask, we got a great title fight in your division in a couple of weeks. I think a lot of people are excited. Are you excited for it, and how do you think that's going to go between Adesanya and Pereira?
It's a very interesting fight. First of all, because of history. We understand why this fight is happening. And yes, it's very interesting, but if you want to, I don't really care. Because I want to be there. Yes, I understand. I have a lot of steps to do, things to win and make. But yes, I wish them good luck, interesting fight. But like, if you're asking me, I don't care. That's a good thing. I'm better than him for sure. Thank you. Have a good day, guys.
Tresean, I've always admired you as a strong man of faith, and I just wonder, these setbacks that you've had to deal with, has it been frustrating, and try to balancing all that and rectify all that?
Yeah, it has. But like sometimes you could pray for something and it doesn't come how you want it to. But it doesn't mean it's not gonna happen. It just have to I never lost my faith. It's still here. I feel like it's stronger now. So I just have to just go in there and apply. I already put in the work. I did the work, as much work as I could to win. So now I just got to go in there and just put my faith in God.
Listen, you came to the UFC at 3-0, right? I mean, that is not an easy thing to do. So I guess has the transition to the highest level of sport, has it been more challenging than maybe even you expected it to be?
I mean, yeah. I was telling everybody I'm going to be champ within a year. And here we are next year. I'm not champ, but I'm still here, and I'm still learning on the job. And I feel like it may not have come when I wanted to, but man, I got all faith in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I just gotta keep working harder, and I gotta do my part by being intelligent in there. My last fight, I wasn't intelligent. I threw too many naked kicks. I threw the same kick over and over again, and anybody would catch that timing, So he timed me with it. I also did not cut weight correctly. I lost 21 pounds in a day and a half, and I had to get the UFC. They don't usually recommend the IV for people, but they recommended it for me. I had to get like 2 pints. I had to get 2 pints because my body wasn't recovering from just drinking water regularly and eating regularly, so I had to go get an IV. And my nutritionist told me that my brain didn't have liquid around it. So when I got hit, I don't know. He told me I weakened my body through the weight cut. But hats off to my last opponent. He was the better man that night. Now we move forward to the future, and that's all we can do.
Yeah. And you're staying busy. I mean, I guess I wondered, was there any talk about, hey, maybe let's pull back for a little bit and spend some time in the lab, so to speak, but you want to stay out here and competing? You feel like that's the best way to get better?
First of all, I'm from Lincoln Heights, South Carolina, Little River, South Carolina. Nobody in that little small town has made it to the UFC, and I feel like I'm blessed and highly favored to be here. So why not, take every opportunity to shine for my family and to be somebody, because I come from drugs and poverty. So, the fact that I'm here holding this microphone talking to you, and I got all these big cameras in my face, it's crazy. It's crazy. So, I'm just grateful to be here, and taking those losses made me grateful, made me more grateful, because it made me realize that I don't have to be here, but I'm here, and I get to shine, and I get to chase my dream on the main event. The main card, and I just feel honored, and I'm just ready to go in there and back up my words and be somebody, be great.
It's well said, man. Obviously, another, everybody here is a tough opponent, but talk about Josh, kind of what you think about him. How do you feel about the matchup itself?
He's a tough guy, man. I respect him. I respect every opponent. They got this fake facade of me just being a cocky, arrogant guy, but I'm not. I'm just competitive. So when I fight people, at weigh-ins, I'll get in their face. I'll say something. I'll do stuff because, dude, you're trying to fight me. We're not going to go play patty cake. But I don't hate them. I respect these men because, man, to get in that cage or boxing ring and fight somebody for the entertainment of other people, it's big and it's dangerous for us as fighters. And I've dealt with a lot of trolls and stuff and people saying hateful stuff, targeting my family and stuff. But God bless them too, man, because I have no hate toward nobody. But man, these sports are combat sports that we're in, they need to take their hat off to us, because we go in there and we sacrifice our life to entertain them. You know what I mean? Just like that guy that just got brain damage in boxing because he got hit in the back of the head. We're here sacrificing our life. Us as athletes, they should show respect You know what I mean? So that's just it. But the guy Josh, though, he's tough, and I respect him. I feel like I'm better than him. He knows how to wrestle. I know how to grapple as well. People don't know that, so maybe that's a good thing. But he also has good stand-up. You know, he mixes in his kicks well, you know. But I got some things up my sleeve. Like, I've been studying this guy. I've had Coach Safe look at certain things that he does. And I plan on making him pay for trying to hit me in there and trying to put damage on me. So that's just it.
Last thing for me, I would just ask, does this feel like a big moment in your career? Because it's so interesting. You're still so early in your journey, right? So it would seem on the one hand that, like, yeah, man, I really got to win this one. But on the other hand, it's like, seems like you got all the time in the world. So is this a big moment, or is this just the next fight?
It's a big moment for me, man, because, like, I have something to prove to myself. And I have something to prove to the naysayers. And, you know what? Fuck the naysayers. You know, excuse my language. I shouldn't be cussing, and I don't want my son to see this and copy what I'm saying. But forget the naysayers, man. I have something to prove to myself. I have something to. I don't know, man. I want to be great. I want to be somebody. Whenever it's said and done, and this is in the history books, in 50 years to 100 years, I want to look back and be proud of it whenever I'm older. I want to be proud of myself. I want my son to look back and be proud of what he sees. I don't want him to see a guy that ever quit. That's why I got right back in here after getting TKO'd, flash knockout. I'm right back here. You don't see me scared. You don't see me tucking my tail between my legs, hiding on some couch, getting fat. I packed up everything, and I went to Dallas. I slept on a blow-up mattress in my brother Simon's apartment. I stayed away from my son and my wife, and I did the things I had to do to get better. And I believe it's gonna pay off. And I want to thank my wife. I want to thank my wife, Juliana Prophet, for sticking by my side through thick and thin. And I want to thank Coach Safe for allowing me to come by his gym. I want to thank all my sponsors, Bully X Kennels, Ferguson Law Firm, Barber Orthopedics, Garden Go Mouthpieces, Eat Clean Bro. And most of all, I just want to thank God. Because without God, I wouldn't be here. There's no way in the world.
I love the emotion. Thank you for sharing, by the way. And I was actually going to bring that up, and I see it came back on your face because in the beginning of this interview, when you talked about what you've overcome and where you've been, was there something in this particular camp, or is it just something in general that makes it feel like this one maybe more than recent ones? Is it a little bit more emotional, a little bit maybe more on the line, or is it just hitting harder for you where you're at right now in life and career at this moment?
Well, sir, I've always wanted to be somebody. Like, even when I was in the ghetto, like, I always would see people around me selling dope, carrying guns, and I didn't want to be like that. I always wanted to be somebody that stood out, and I don't know why I'm so emotional, but I just literally watched my mother get her leg amputated because of diabetes and an addiction, and people don't understand the things that you go through as a fighter outside of this. So I feel motivated to go be somebody and get my mom in the best rehab facility in the world because I don't want her to die. And I just feel motivated because, like I said, I feel like my wife and my son deserve to be great. I feel like they deserve to, when I fight, they fight. When I lost, all my siblings cried. So it's like, I'm not trying to put them through that. Like, this shit's dangerous what we do. And I just want to go in there and shine and be somebody great. My father's in prison, so he won't see me go shine and be great. But one day I want him to even be proud of the son he has, you know? So that's just it. I'm not trying to be a punk or nothing in here, shedding tears, but I just got a lot on the line in my mind because I still want to be champion of the world. I still want to be champion of the world, but it doesn't just get given to you. It takes sacrifice. It's sacrifice. It takes taking losses sometimes when you don't want to lose. So all I had to do is just learn from my mistakes and move forward. That's all I could do. God bless my opponent, and thank you for stepping in the octagon with me, because without him, I wouldn't have nobody to beat up. So, I mean, big respect to him. But I will be victorious. I will be victorious. But God bless him, and God bless everybody that even doubts and hates me for no reason. I still love everybody. So that's it.
Thank you so much for sharing. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you, sir.
Well, obviously a big win last time we saw you, man. I know, great performance. Just wonder how important that was after, a setback, after some layoffs, that sort of thing. How important was it to have a performance like that?
Man, every victory in the octagon is, extremely important. Man, just blessed to be here. Honored to be here. Blessed to be part of the organization. So every victory is amazing. You know what I mean? So. Yeah.
At this point in your career, does it finally feel like everything's coming together? We've been following you forever, right? And just putting all these expectations and pressure on you and all this stuff. But now it seems like you're finally, comfortable. Are you finally comfortable?
Yeah, I'm finally becoming what everyone expected me to be years ago. And I'm like I said, I'm blessed to be here, and it's all coming to fruition. And it just took time. It took longer than we expected. I was supposed to be here, 5 years ago, UFC champ, next John Jones, but it's just taking time, and now we're here, though. So it's coming.
When you look back on that time, I guess a good thing, fighters want attention, right? You got to get in the spotlight. But is there any part of you was like, I wish these people would just left me alone and let me improve as a fighter?
It makes it part of the journey, though. You know what I mean? And also, I hope it provides inspiration for other fighters, you know what I mean, who get set on a huge spotlight and hey, you're gonna be the next big thing, blah blah blah. They have some upsets, people forget about them, but you come back and and you come here, and do well. So.
I apologize, I'm slow to the game. The inspiration for Show Me Something Friday, when did that? I'm feeling that now. I'm feeling that.
For sure. So it's just the inspiration for Show Me Something Friday. It's just I love myself, we all should love ourselves, but I also love learning, and I love showing other people's talents, you know what I mean? And we got some girls twerking on there, I'm a fan of it, so but my pastor watches, so I got to keep it sometimes PG. But stay tuned next Friday after the fight. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be lit.
To be clear to the world, it's not just all girls twerking.
Of course.
There's a good fair share of it, which is fine.
Yeah, of course. You got to get the diversity, variety in there. It's fun. I like to mix it up with, you never know what's coming. So it's just something to show. I think a lot of fighters, we just train. We train. And I just want to show some people my personality, It's not just always fighting all the time,
That's what I kind of wondered, too, about your development, right? Not just as a fighter, but as... I feel like in the early days, you didn't necessarily love being out there. It was like, hey, I'm just in the gym grinding. Now it seems like you're showing this side of you, What helped that develop?
Yeah, man. I think, of course, I'm always, try to be the hardest worker in the room and just constantly grinding. But I feel like people want to see more of that. They want to see who you are, your personality, and things like that. And I'm just letting it show. I'm letting it, be my authentic self and just having fun with it. You know what I mean?
All right, we got another big fight right here. Talk about the matchup with Rome and kind of what you think he brings to the table and what you thought when that was the fight.
Of course, I'm always game. Whoever the UFC puts in front of me, I think Mick and those guys do a good job of setting people up. So Rome, he's tough grappler, heavy-handed. He's okay. But I'm tough too. So I'm gonna get it cracking on Saturday. Get him out of there. Yeah. You know what I'm about.
Tough grappler, heavy-handed. Seems like that could be used to describe you as well, right? So that's why I'm curious, what kind of fight do you think this is? Do we get to see the wrestling tested? Is there any of that, wrestling bravado that wants to show that, or is it an MMA fight?
It's simple. Everyone knows my game plan. I'm coming out first round to knock you out. You know what I mean? I'm coming out blazing. That's my thing. I think Duran Wynn's probably the most accredited wrestler we have in the division, and I took him down, you know what I mean? So, my wrestling's there. I'm a Division I wrestler, JUCO national champ. I wrestled the best of them. So wrestling's cool, but you know what I mean? I'm trying to get 50K.
Nice. Last thing for me, you make a statement here. Now we start calling out people in the rankings. Is it time to really start making that run in earnest?
Yeah. I think it's always time to call people out and do what we're here for, become a world champion. So. But I got faith in those guys, Mick, and they know what they're doing, so they've been here for a while. So we'll see what happens.
guess give us the feel on fight week. You know, this time around, any different, any more comfortable? What's the feeling like this time?
Yeah, just a little more comfortable, you know, not having to feel like I'm rushed into anything, and get to take it all in and take it slow this time, you know.
Was there, like I said, a completely different situation this time, but was there anything you took from the last one? You're like, here's what we really have to change on fight week in terms of whether it be mental, physical, anything like that?
I wouldn't say it's anything I had to change during fight week, per se. More of what I was doing outside of the gym leading up to it. You know, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. One of the great philosophers of our time, T.I., said that. And so, yeah, I was training, but I wasn't training for a fight. I didn't have anything on the books, so I wasn't 100%. So this time around, you know, I was waiting. I knew I was going to get another opportunity, and I just didn't let any distractions get in. I was focused 100%, and, yeah, I'm ready to go.
How tough is that to do, right? Because, like, once the name's on a contract, like, that's when the mindset changes, right?
Yeah.
So is it difficult to keep that motivation or to keep that discipline when you don't have that contract signed?
In a sense, yeah. Because if you have a name and you have a date, you have a goal, you have something to look forward to. And if you don't, it's just, all right, I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm doing this. But then there's also like, all right, well, I don't got a fight coming up, so I can go hang out with my buddies. I can go out to the bars or anything like that. But yeah, it's kind of a wake-up experience, if you will. I get to fight in the UFC. This is an opportunity I've been working for my entire life, so I'm not letting anything mess that up anymore.
Being here in Vegas, is that appealing or exciting to you at all? I mean, being around the whole thing, it's not the big arena, right? But you're still getting to see the PI headquarters, all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of nervous that I was never going to get to see the PI. You know, I know a lot of people who go to and out, and, you know, this is the way it goes. But I got to experience everything. I'm here at the Apex for the first time, getting to check it out. But I don't like Vegas. I've been to Vegas a bunch of times. I fought out here as an amateur. I do the High Rollers tournaments a good bit out here. Vegas is a sad place sometimes.
It's a better place to live than it is to visit.
I've heard, you know, I've had some friends who live out here, and if you get away from the Strip and you get away from everything, it's pretty nice. But I've only spent time on the Strip, so I don't know much else.
Not that I'm repping like the tourism committee, but it's different when you live here, man.
Yeah.
All right, so talk about the matchup. Obviously, Tresean, somebody you've prepared for before. I mean, I guess overall he's made a camp change. I mean, you look into stuff like that. It's like, okay, now we got to change things up.
No, he's a body type. He's a style that I've fought many times. I don't put too much stock into camp changes or anything like that. I have my camp. I have my group. I got Cody Brundage, D8 over there. You know, so I'm pretty happy with where I'm at, and I just got to go put some work on this guy.
Any idea what Fight Night's going to feel like for you? I mean, do you think it'll be the same nerves, or do you think it'll be different this time?
I feel like I'm going to still have those nerves. You know, you always have those nerves right before you get into a fight. It's going to be a physical altercation, so a little nervous. But, you know, the smell of the gloves, the smell of the canvas, everything, I've experienced it already now. So I think that I'm just going to be a better fighter come Fight Night.
Last thing for me, I guess, goal here is to just come in and pick up a win. Doesn't matter. Is like come in and like blow the doors off and have everybody talking about you the next day. I mean, what's the mindset coming in?
The mindset is I need to get a win. I don't care how that win comes. Obviously, I want to get a finish because, you know, there's a good chance for a bonus if that happens. But like I told a lot of people, I still don't consider myself a UFC fighter yet. And until I get that win, until I get my hand raised, then I'll be able to enjoy it. Thanks, guys.
Sorry about that. I just changed the batteries. Listen, setback last time out. I know not fun, but I mean, at this point in your career, there's still lessons you take out of every matchup, or have you just been around long enough, it's just move past it?
I hate losing. Talking to the guys in the other room over here, I'm here to win, you know, so putting in the hard training camps and going through the adversity there with my teammates and stuff, it makes training camps a little bit easier, if you will, because, you know, you want to get your hand raised on fight night. So here we are in shape, going to make weight, going to try to beat the shit out of Max.
I mean, do you make changes based off fight results? I mean, at this point, you're still like tweaking and adjusting approaches, or how does it work at this point?
Yeah, you can never be too good at a technique, so you got to constantly practice stuff, even that we're good at, you know. So watch fights that you win, find holes. You watch fights you lose, find holes. I think the bigger difference for this fight is going into the last fight, there was injuries and things going on that I had to get healed up and get fixed. I had to have a surgery, you know. So this time around, I just feel like a different guy right now. Recovery's better, timing's better, things are just better. So, you know, no disrespect to Holland or nothing like that. He's a hell of a fighter, hell of a guy. I just feel better coming into this fight Saturday night and look to get back to winning ways.
Is it a situation where maybe you shouldn't have been competing last time out? Or, I mean, I don't want to try to set up an excuse for you or anything like that, but do you feel like in hindsight it was a mistake?
Oh, hell, you don't learn unless you make mistakes. But it's just one of them things, you know. I got an injury, you know, kind of towards the end going into the fight, and I'm not a guy that pulls out of things, you know. So it's not something I would change. I would still gone through with it. I felt comfortable enough going into that fight, healthy enough going into that fight. You know, it's just something that happens, and we dealt with it.
What are your thoughts on Max as an opponent? I mean, are you somebody that watches a lot of tape, or were you just familiar with his body of work? I mean, he's been around a little while, too.
Yeah, I remember Max when he debuted against, I think it was Covington. I think I was supposed to fight Brandon Strickland that night, or his name Brandon Strickland? Strickland. He got hurt. I wound up fighting a guy named Sabah Hamasi. It was right after I went through the supplement crap, you know, so I got to know Max pretty well, seen him fight quite a bit. Watched some tape, you know, went back and watched some of his most recent stuff. He's a durable guy with a lot of heart and gets in your face and fights you. So I'm excited to fight Max and make it a violent fight.
We saw him earlier today. He actually shared the debut story. He said that, like, you gave him some advice about dealing with autograph hounds and how to personalize. Do you remember that exchange?
Yeah, oh yeah, I remember all that stuff. Yeah, you know, Max is a good guy, and, you know, like we're talking in the other room, this whole career has just been about taking my time and remembering memories, man. And, you know, Max is one of those guys that you know, I remember hanging out and cutting weight with him and being there. And a lot of these guys I know personally, and, you know, it's strictly just business. I don't think I fought a guy in a long time that I disliked or whatever, but once the cage door shuts, you have to find a reason not to like the guy across from you. So respect, but let's get violent.
I was just saying, so what do you do, right? Like, no, like, it's one thing to be like, I don't hate the guy, but it's another thing to be like, I actually like this guy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Is there any kind of weird, like, mental switch you have to make, or does it, you know, make it more challenging to go in there and punch him in the face?
Hell, man, Thanksgivings lately have been pretty calm, you know, but hell, you have family members at the Thanksgiving table you don't like. Sometimes you got to throw some shit at them, you know what I mean? You know when someone's mad when shoes start flying, so I haven't had to throw a shoe at anybody in a while. So I'm just here to compete, man, do the best I can on winning. And like we're talking again in the other room or whatever with my wrestling team in Moriarty, I went back to my hometown where I was a shit stick and rebuilt bridges and fixed things. I'm a head coach out there now, so life has done a crazy turnaround. And you know, I'm just proud and want to be a good dad, be a good person on those forefronts. And just ultimately just use that stage or use this level here just to talk and communicate and figure out how to get along.
Has that become like the most important thing to you, I guess, is being like an inspiration to others versus necessarily like chasing gold or worrying about rankings or anything like that?
Yeah, I don't know if inspiration is the right word, but you've got a lot of talent in our community. We come from a poor community there in Moriarty or in New Mexico. And look, man, I could have chose to live anywhere I wanted to live, you know, with the opportunities I've been given here, stuff like that. And I chose to stay home and chose to, you know, not throw shit at the cops and run from them and try to be a different light, you know what I mean? But I realized at that time, man, if I wasn't part of the solution, I was definitely part of the problem. And I wanted my kids to see that just because you adversity and don't get along with people doesn't mean it has to stay like that. And a lot of the reasons we make problems is, you know, we're our own worst enemy in a lot of ways. So as long as I can talk to kids and mingle and, talk to parents, and hell, there's parents I don't get along with, there's just a way to communicate it, not hit them with a shoe, I guess. But I think we've lost sight as a community, and I think we've lost sight as a generation in general on being able to communicate with one another and talk it out. And hell, let's get back to writing some poetry or whatever. But I can't write for shit, so. I just want to lead by a different example and show my kids that hard work does pay off.
Tim means a poetry man. I mean, who would have thought that?
I don't know about all that, man. Trying to read more in my old age, but might need some glasses.
Last thing for me, I guess. I mean, on paper, I think every fight you're in looks like it's going to be a fight of the night, but this one particularly does. I mean, is that what you're expecting? Is that the mindset you bring into this?
Man, when I sign that contract, I get in the best shape I can possibly be in, and I show up and fight, and I let the chips fall where they fall, So I get a lot of respect from the guys on the roster and from fans in general. I might not be one of these crazy popular guys, but I don't want to be George Clooney famous. So when you see my name on the roster, you'll be going through it or whatever, or see my name on a lineup, you're going to stop on that fight and look at the guy across from me. And, we paid attention to these things, and contract deals that we've done or whatever, when you're able to look at that slot on the TV deal, on the spikes in views, those numbers jump way up. So I might not be super famous, but people know I can fight, know I show up.
When you talk about community and wanting to give back and giving that lasting legacy, was that something you always wanted to do? Was that something later on in your career where you were like, I need to change something, or I need to go back? Was that something that you found later on in your career?
Yeah, man, I'm just a white trash kid from the sticks, and I think I didn't start thinking like that till I had a daughter to feed, and they slowed me way down and showed me that it's worth being around, and it's worth staying out of handcuffs, and it's worth the struggle. Watching my kids grow and being able to water those flowers, and we don't get along all the time. I dislike them more than I like them most of the time. But I love my kids, and I want to show them that, like we're talking, hard work pays off, and my kids got tremendous work ethic. And I want to be there to support that and be around for that. My daughter Lily's a chip off the old block. She thinks just like I did when I was younger. When we get pissed, we react before we think. So I'm trying to show her that, hell, I've done a lot of thinking lately, and things have paid off when I think before I react.
That's awesome. And when you're giving back to the community, I think you said you were coaching and helping out. That first time when you went back, back to the community and want to give back, after being what'd you call yourself, a shit stick? Yeah. What did the people, did they immediately embrace it, or were they like, Tim, come on, bro, we know how you are? I mean, what was that initial reaction from them when you first wanted to start to try to reach out to them?
Yeah, there was no open arms. I think I was looking exactly that, like, yeah, right, he said this before, or yeah, right. So it took me 8 years to even get a judge to take me serious just to get back in my daughter's lives. Now I have custody of my daughter, sole custody of my kids. Calling home on a Thanksgiving from a jail cell to talk to my nephew and him realizing where I was at just really just set the tone for me. And I get people talking, when I talk about prison or whatever, say I went to county jail. No, I had a judge that sent me to prison on 2 misdemeanors. I had 2 days shy of 2 years, and I got to go to the Department of Corrections. My prison number is 66689. So it wasn't no county jail or nothing. I got to go, learn or go see the life that I was living and see where I didn't want to be. And, it's a humbling deal when you're not able to go to bed when you want, not able to get in the refrigerator or get orange juice or whatever when you want. And, just having a shower with other naked people is a little awkward, but, I didn't have responsibility. I didn't have clarity. I didn't have nothing that I cared about at those times. And whenever my daughter was born, my first daughter, it changed everything about my thinking. And, I'm not perfect. I still do things wrong. I still have a temper and still try to figure it out. But I do communicate with my family a whole lot better.
I know a lot of fighters out there, use this platform and they want to give good. And there's other fighters that just care about getting the gold, and it's all about that. But would you say you're most proud about being able to be there for your daughter and be there for your community? Is that what you're most proud of, to be there and be a voice of reason and something that you can look up to?
Yeah, I'm proud of the turnaround. I'm proud that I'm still with the same team that I started with when I was 17, and I'll be 39 in February. I don't jump ship. I don't point fingers and blame people when I mess up. Like I said, I've learned to communicate a whole lot better. And, it's just an outstanding thing that, I can choose to go to work or I can choose to go watch my kids play volleyball. I can choose to be there for the football team and work the chain gang just as any normal person, and not have to worry about. Sometimes it's really hard to go in grocery stores there and get groceries or whatever. It turns into a 2-3 hour thing just mingling and talking to people. Anything good happened with the COVID deal, we can do the whole DoorDash where they bring the groceries to your door. So thank you, COVID, for that. But standing here differently, like where I'm at today, and like I was telling the other guys in the other room, we have old posters up on the walls at the gym, and my young face is in the background of all those photos. And if I could just go back and beat the shit out of me real quick, and then jump back to where we're at right now, it would be a whole lot better. But I've learned a lot from my mistakes, and I learned a lot from where I went, and I learned a lot from the things I did wrong, and try to better it and try to move forward. But I'm a man today, and I was a boy who thought he was a man 10 years ago. So things are better.
It's kind of funny. A lot of people say, I wish I could have went back in time. I'd say this to myself, but for you, if you went back in time, it'd be better just to hit some sense into you, as opposed to.
I would have ran myself over with a car and then got out and beat the shit out of me. Bottom line. So.
That's all. Well, we're glad that you're here.
Thank you. All right, thank you, guys.
Se ve bien allá. Acá te ve bien, güey. La televisión, güey.
It looks good, yeah, man. Look good. Well, I was gonna ask what the feel was. Obviously, a big moment in your career. It seems like you're relaxed, you're having fun, but I mean, what is the emotion like right now ahead of your debut?
Que sí, que sientes ahorita, que te sientes bien, relajado, que es las emociones que te está pasando ahorita por tu cabeza.
Yeah, I have it too much. I'm too happy. My family happy. Is I feel a lot. What's the name? Como que me apoyan.
Yeah, a lot of support from his family, from everybody in Dominican. Support.
Very nice. I wonder the comfort level, being here in the Apex, does that make it more comfortable than maybe if you were somewhere else to make this debut because you've been here before?
Pues, ¿cómo te sientes de pelear aquí de vuelta, donde peleaste y ganaste, o de pelear en otro lado?
I feel good. anywhere, any located when we fight, I'm feel good because I'm ready for fight. Any located, on the bottom of the water, and everything.
Less than 3 months since earning the contracts. I'm just curious, kind of what the focus has been. Did anything change in your training or your approach between your last fight and this one?
Dice, ¿qué fue lo que hiciste diferente dentro de esos 3 meses de la última pelea ahora?
I'm focused more my wrestling, my jiu-jitsu, my Muay Thai, and put it more strong my right hands for, you know.
Jared, as an opponent, I guess what did you think about him when this was the name given, and what do you think of him as a fighter?
Dice, ¿qué crees del oponente que tienes ahora? ¿Qué crees de él de peleador y de oponente?
I feel a great man, and still here for something, you know. I'm ready. I'm ready for the knock him out. This is just happened.
I was gonna say, I mean, do you, I guess, have the goal? I mean, is it more about just getting a win any way necessary, or do you want to come in and make some kind of highlight reel knockout?
Dice, ¿qué quieres hacer? ¿Que no te importa cómo ganar o quieres hacer como un video de algo chingón, así como que te lo chingaste bien perro?
Dile que va a ser chingón, que todo va a ser cabrón como debe ser.
Everything is gonna be cabrón, means chingón. It's gonna be some highlight. That's what you're looking for. That's what it means.
I like it. I like it. And I guess last thing for me, I mean, ideally, how do you see your career path going? Because you're still very early in your MMA career, but in the heavyweight division, you can make quick steps. So, do you want to, go quickly through the rankings, or is it kind of a step-by-step process?
Si crees que, o sea, tienes experiencia, has peleado y todo, pero pues todavía sigues siendo, como si un bebé, ¿me entiendes? Que sí que quieres hacer. Ya es que los pesos pesados, 3, 4 peleas y subes los rankings, o quieres llevártela más tranquila.
Oh, I want to go high fast, because I have a 31 years old, and my family is there, is younger family. I need to got a good position for my family and like that.
Look, making a statement, going to the top.
And just one for me. I mean, you're making your debut, but you're also making your debut 3 fights from the top of the card. What does that say to your fight style and maybe the expectations of what the UFC is putting on you to put you so high on the card?
Que sí que crees que, o sea, tu primer pelea realmente en la UFC, pero te está poniendo hasta arriba del main card y abajito de la coestelar. ¿Cuáles son las expectaciones que tú crees UFC tiene de ti?
I feel the UFC wanted me good to go for the big levels, and I'm here for the make it that, and the UFC need to see me. They watch me do a Saturday we have a good guy here for the match for the heavyweight in the top.
For the contender, for the belt. That's what it means.
Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Over here, Waldo. I'm going to say it in English and then in Spanish. They called you just right after you won your contract in Contender Series. They called you to see if you were able to fight like in a couple of days. So what did Mick told you? ¿Qué te dijo Mick porque te llamó después de que tuviste la pelea en el Contender? Te querían ver ya debutar luego. ¿Qué te dijo ese día, Mick?
10 días, ¿te acuerdas?
After my fight, the Contender, supposed to have fight 10 days later, but my opponent is not be available because I have a fight week before, I have a KO. But I'm be ready every time anytime for any fight they have it.
¿Cómo me dijiste?
¿Cómo?
Me vale verga, lo que sea.
Así es.
You're saying it because it's funny. You say, I don't care who it is, what time, anytime, any day. I go after it.
Yeah, I don't care what guy is there. I fight anywhere. I'm good to go.
That's what Mick Maynard tells us. I'm ready. I'll fight next week, this week, 2 days. I don't care.
Thank you.
Another fight week, another main event, headlining the card. I mean, this is the way it is for you every time now, right? I mean, what's the feel?
Another day, another opportunity to go out and show everybody I'm one of the best in the world.
I know last one didn't necessarily agree with the result, a heartbreaking one. I mean, how do you move past that? I mean, is it difficult to kind of put that behind and just press forward?
Yeah, I mean, really the thing that we want to stress, I mean, not to go back too far and just like sound like poor sport or anything like that. You know, we just want accountability for the judges, things like that. That's really it. You know, we have a bad day in the office, we pay for it. It's like mistakes happen. It's part of the game on everyone. There's a human error involved in everything. Just, you know, we want to see something in place with the commissions or something to hold some accountability to the judges that might have got it the wrong way. I think it's important for the sport to move forward.
Yeah, I know you say you don't want to hash it, but I'm curious too because I tend to agree with that as well. But have you heard like a perfect solution of like what you think is this is the thing that'll fix it?
Only thing that I heard that like really makes sense is to me, it seems like a no-brainer, is if one guy out of the three or girl, whoever, you know, sees something different than the other two. All right, well, what did you see? You know, like just as simple as that. You know, if you're the one rogue judge that went the other way, now, all right, there's a bunch of those instances where you're going against two judges. What are you seeing all the time? You know, like that's I guess mainly the biggest thing. More accountability for what they saw when they went against the two other judges that are doing the same job they are.
Nice, yeah, good idea. All right, so how do you move beyond it? I mean, I know it's. I guess loss is just part of the sport, but do you just like put it in behind, or do you like pray, take lessons? What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, it's not my first loss, so you know, it's the first time I felt like I lost, though, that I thought I won. You know, so a little trickier there, but I mean, at the end of the day, you gotta have a short memory, wins, losses, all that. You get too high off a last win, and you go in thinking you're untouchable. You're going to get touched. You know, so it's like the sport's very humbling. It's always on to the next no matter what, even after a win or a loss. So, you know, we understand we got a tough competitor ahead of us, and to not give him my full focus would be a mistake. So all hands on deck for this one, and all the focus is on Arnold Allen.
Yeah, and I kind of joke about, you know, the main event thing, but I mean, are you able to sit back and be like, man, like I'm just racking up headliners, like clearly one of the biggest names in the division, one of the biggest names in the sport. I mean, is that still pretty surreal to you, or does it feel like, hey, that's what we work for? That's
what we work for, definitely. That's why you work so hard to have these opportunities, and there are no, for the most part, easy main events. You know what I mean? You want to be one of the best in the world. You're going to take on stiff competition, and you need a strong B side, you know, in order to have a main event. So, shout out to Arnold Allen, 9-0, earning his spot, and we're going to see, you know, what's what. But yeah, definitely 5-round fights seem to be the new norm, and a 3-rounder just seems like a half a fight now. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, sometimes, I mean, I know not to get too far on the last one, but sometimes you see these fights. I think Ariel brought up a good point. I'll bring it up again, where, you know, maybe these number one contender fights should, you know, be main events, 5-round fights. You find out more, and you know, it makes sense.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. On the right side, I guess, I mean, talking about the side, but staying busy, right? I mean, has that been exciting for you? Has it been challenging for you to keep up this pace, especially in preparing for 5-round fights? What's that been like?
Well, prior to this year, it's been a little on and off, so I'm happy to be busy. You know, I like to earn my opportunities, like I always talk about, and you don't earn them by sitting on your ass. So we've been in the gym, training. Why not go out and compete and stay busy? We're not getting any younger.
Yeah. Fresh name, I guess, kind of at least towards the top of the division with Arnold Allen. I mean, how long had you been kind of tracking him and seeing him as a guy that, you know, maybe I'll be facing down the road?
I mean, 90% of my focus, if not more, is just on myself, improving my strengths and weaknesses, you know, and just becoming a well-rounded, more complete fighter every time I step in there. And that's always the goal, no matter who we're going against. And then obviously there's things he does well we pay attention to, things like that. But I more so, I have my coaches kind of dialed in on all that stuff. I just try to focus on myself and be the best version of myself every practice and every time I step in the octagon.
I mean, obviously the skills will be what they are once we get in there, but I just wonder about like the experience side of it. Like when you think back to your first main event, your first 5-round fight, I mean, do you think like you definitely have some advantages now at this point of, you know, because when you go, you don't know what you don't know, right? I mean, do you see something in that you hold an advantage here?
Well, in these 5, you know, I've answered some questions in those five-round fights. You know, you've had some to look at. For him, you know, there's still questions out there, and he's gonna have an opportunity to answer some of those on Saturday night. But it's the unknown with him, and you kind of know what you get with me. So we'll see how that plays out.
Do you think about stakes of what's it mean? Because I think everybody's like, is this a number one contender fight? Is it not? The champ's going up right now, so what is it? Do you worry about that stuff or think about it at all?
Well, you never really know, right? Even when you think you do, and hindsight 2020. But I just know the way I've based my whole career, even getting to the UFC, just one win is always going to put me one step closer to the ultimate goal, which was eventually getting to the UFC. And when I got to the UFC, another win will eventually get me one step closer to the title. And that's just kind of what I go through. So as far as focusing on what's after this and what's next, I can't control that the most. All I can control is how well I perform on Saturday night. And if I do that well enough, then it's only going to put me that much closer to the belt.
Last thing for me, I mean, obviously your striking, your durability, it's all been very well proven. He had a really explosive performance last time out, but, you know, kind of went the distance a lot before that. So I guess when you see this, like, what are you expecting? When you see your styles come together, like, is this going to be an explosive fight, or is this one that you got to be ready to grind for 25?
I feel like every time you step in there, you got to be ready to grind for 25. And if you have a chance to get out of there quick, all the better. But we're always prepared for a 5-round grueling fight, and that's no different this Saturday night. Hopefully, you know, it's always better when you get out of there early, but we're prepared for whatever it takes.
When you said you didn't really particularly prepare for him, you're always focusing on yourself. Has it always been like that for you? And in that sense, where camps were always about just working on bettering your skills, because I could see where that makes a lot of sense. Because short-term fights pop up, you know, if you're working too hard on one particular fighter, you might be throwing yourself back. But has it always been that way for you?
Yeah, for sure, and that's the mindset. Like Rob, in the early part of his career, I don't know if he's like really ever fought any of the guys he was originally scheduled to fight. So you can kind of get lost up in that. But obviously, you want to know the opponent you're going against. You want to do your research. But at the end of the day, I think you know, if you spend more of your focus on yourself and just improving your weaknesses and getting better with your strengths, I just think it pays out more in the long term, and becoming more of a well-completed fighter is just gonna work out in the long term for you. Yeah, so that's most of my focus day in, day out, is just becoming a better martial artist, complete fighter.
So does that process, is that sort of even a weekly thing in training, or is it you just go back to the last fight or two, or are you basing every week, you look to see how you felt that week, you and your coaches look and you say, we need to focus on this, you know, I'm not feeling good at this. I mean, what does that sort of look like when you're really dialing it down, especially preparing for a fight?
Yeah, it's both. You know, in camp is going to be a lot of focus kind of around what the opponent's going to do. Don't get me wrong. Like, I know it sounds kind of awkward, but we're gonna stay within the game plan of you know, things he does well and things we're looking to do. And with that, it's like there might be spin-offs or questions off that, and then ideally, then there's just basic training where, you know, I'm trying to make improvements in between the fights, and that's not going to slow down just because I got a certain person that likes to fight a certain way. We're just trying to, you know, fill all the buckets and not put the emphasis too much on the opponent, although we are, you know, well aware of the things they bring to the table.
You know, it's interesting. We saw him in here today, and then we see you come in, and you clearly look like the bigger guy. I mean, do you feel like you're going to be the stronger guy in there? And do you think that he's maybe going to have issues dealing with your size and strength?
I'm not sure, honestly. I haven't stepped across from him like that or anything. And, I mean, muscles are cool, but they don't really win fights a ton of times. So I don't put too much emphasis on that. But, yeah, we'll see how it goes, man. You have all these grand plans for how things are going to work out, and then you go in there and it goes a whole nother way than you thought, you know. So we're just prepared for everything, anything. And but yeah, I mean, clearly he's 9-0 in the UFC. He's done something right, obviously, to get this opportunity, and I'm sure he's looking to capitalize. But so are we, and that's going to make for a hell of a main event come Saturday.
When you come in and you have a guy that's across that has like a 9-0, would that be extra special to take that 0 away? And is that something that you even think about, you know? Or is it just like, you know, he's going to lose eventually? I mean, it's not like you try harder to take that first one for him.
Well, I mean, it's not like I'm not trying to take his, you know, it's not, that's not my emphasis, you know, but he's also not the first undefeated fighter that I've come across looking to, you know, stake their claim. When you're en route to the title, you know, there aren't easy fights, and I'm well aware of that. And, yeah, I understand he's got a skill set that has, put him in a good position to get the job done. But I just feel like, when you get to that top 5, it's going to take doubling down on everything that got you there, and it's just a whole nother game. And I plan to, apply that on Saturday, just kind of different levels, man. I just got to go out and perform like I know I can, and that's where the pressure lies.
Best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
just a ranked like heavyweight coming in to defend your spot on the list on Fight Week, man. I mean, is that a little bit different vibe, like being up there with all those top names?
Yeah, man, I love it, and you're exactly right. That's how I approach the fight, is defending my turf, defending my spot in line. And my last fight against the Jung, that's what I kept telling myself. I had just gotten to the top 15, and here I was fighting a guy on a 15-fight unbeaten streak, undefeated in the UFC, and I had to defend my spot, and that's what I did, man, and we're doing it again.
I mean, I'm sure anybody that's in the rankings is happy to see themselves there, but it just feels like such a journey, right, for you to get here, just a long path. I mean, is it rewarding to just finally, feel like you're getting the recognition for the efforts you put in?
Yeah, it's awesome. I absolutely love it. And then to see the number 13 now, Thiago Santos out, so everybody moved up one, and it just gives me hope and inspiration to get into the top 10. And, it's been a long time coming. I've been talking to a good buddy of mine the other day. We've been friends for decades, and he's like, number 13. I was like, yeah, it's crazy, huh? He's like, it is, but not really. He's like, you've been put in this work, man. So it's super exciting.
Pretty cool. Back at the Apex, I mean, you've been kind of taking a tour of the stadiums. I guess, does that make it any more challenging or any different? I mean, the vibe, the energy, is there any changes that have to be made, or is that anything you can prepare for?
Not really. I mean, you can only control what you can control. Of course, I love fighting in front of crowds. I've been spoiled. My last 3 fights have been in front of crowds. So it is what it is, man. I'm pretty comfortable here at the Apex, all dating back to the Contender Series. That was super weird. And then it's just evolved, little by little. There's been more and more people in here, and there'll be a little bit of a crowd on Saturday, and you can't change it. You just got to go with the flow, and I'm looking forward to it.
When you step in there now, is it a different feeling? Like you said, all the effort that you put in, but now it's this nice win streak. Is there a different energy, I guess, you feel when you step in there, a different confidence level?
Oh yeah, confidence is through the roof. I feel like the man. I feel like I own this shit, and I feel like this is my show. I can't wait to go in there and put on a show for the fans, and extremely confident, man. I'm excited. I work hard for this, and I can't wait to go out there and showcase my skills on Saturday.
I guess everybody in the UFC is a dangerous opponent, but Khalil, he's had some pretty spectacular moments. I guess, what do you think about him as an opponent? What do you think when you got this matchup?
Well, I was licking my chops, man. If I have to throw him under the bus a little bit. He turned me down in March when I fought UFC 272. He said no, and it's a little feather in my cap, and they came back, and we were asking for a higher ranked opponent, and they were all booked up, and they were like, well, what about Rountree? I was like, well, yeah, of course, if he wants to, and he said yes this time. So I was super excited, super confident, man, and it's funny because I got guys at the gym and people that talk about Khalil Rountree. They're like, man, that guy's a killer. I can't wait to go out. It's the prove it business, and I can't wait to go out and prove that he's not a killer, man. He can be, but I think I got respect. I'm not talking smack at all, but I think he's too up and down. He can look like a killer, and physically he's a killer, but mentally is where it matters most. And I think mentally that's where he's the weakest. And again, I get a chance to prove that on Saturday.
So when his name was brought up to you, given what happened before, was there any part of you that was like, tell him I said no. I'm not interested now.
Hell no. I was licking my chops. I'm like, fine, if you want me to give me that for my, this is the 3rd of my 4th fight on the contract. So I go out there and have a good performance. I'm going to re-up, and I'm like, hell, if they're going to give me that fight for this, I can't wait. So I've been pumped, man. 10 weeks now I've been preparing for this, and I can't wait to go out there and get the job done on Saturday.
Given your styles, I'm guessing probably doesn't go 15 minutes. Is that kind of what you're thinking as well?
Yeah, I don't think so. Especially, again, Khalil's so up and down. If he's the down Rountree, it's not going to go long at all. If he's the up Rountree, it's going to be a great fight, and I still think it's going to be a good fight, but I keep saying it. It's the prove it business. I'm going to get an opportunity to go out there and prove that I'm the better fighter.
I like it. Last thing for me, get the big statement win here, get the new contract. Do you start asking for some top 10, do you start calling names? Because I know you're not a big, trash talking type guy or whatever, but do you start, making specific challenges?
Yeah, so I have a couple names in mind, and guys are getting booked, too. I really wanted to fight Volkan Ozdemir this last camp, or for this fight. And they actually, the UFC loved it. They were talking about me fighting last week on the Abu Dhabi card. This was, right after my last win. I'm like, great, but I was 14 at the time, and he had just beat Paul Craig, so he was number 8, and he respectfully declined, which I get it. When you're number 8, you're not looking at 14, you're looking at, things that push you closer to the title, fights that push you closer. And so that didn't happen, didn't materialize. But, he just lost to Krylov. So maybe I throw Krylov out there after the big win. I think that'd be a fun fight, but definitely somebody in the top 10. And you're right, I need to come with a name. Otherwise, it's just they're just going to give me whoever. So I need to get out there and call somebody out.
Just one silly one. When the number does change next to your name, who's the first to call you usually, or who do you call first to brag and praise when your ranking goes up? Who gets the call?
I've got a special group of friends that we've been friends for decades and going back to junior high, and it's always those guys that get a hold of me or, they send me something. And of course, my wife and I were always talking about it, but I just go with the flow, man. I'm very blessed. I have a lot of good friends and people close to me that look out for me and care for me. So I hear from all of them all the time, and it's a good support system.
I was going to say they're probably the same that keep you grounded and keep the head small, right?
Oh, for sure. Those are the guys. They're still talking shit to me. They still think they can kick my ass. So
it's awesome. Best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you, man. Good. Thank you, guys. See you Saturday night.